Hi, welcome to this very basic talk on use of Excel, StatCraft and SPSS for chi-square test. This is Mrinmoy Kumar Sharma from the Department of Business Administration offering you this comparative analysis in terms of user friendliness, ease of use between Excel and StatCraft and among Excel and StatCraft and SPSS in conducting a very simple chi-square test. This video is aimed basically to the beginners of statistical softwares and those who often confuse between which one is to be used and how user-friendly a particular software. Excel is available legally available in almost all laptops. SPSS is also very widely available software, very popular among researchers and among students. StatCraft is relatively unknown and underused software, but one good point about StatCraft is that StatCraft is server based, so the students basically can use this StatCraft from their mobile phones as well, from their laptops, from anywhere they wish to, and the same data those are available are saved in the server. More importantly, students and the users do not have to download or install any app either in the mobile phone or in the laptop, so they can use it through any kind of browser where StatCraft is supported. Google Chrome is one of such browser which supports StatCraft. So therefore, slowly StatCraft becomes popular in the educational institutes, and therefore we are trying to compare ease of use or other user friendliness between these three popular software in doing a very mundane chi-square test. So this chi-square test would be basically for demonstration purpose and therefore should not be given much importance about the results and other things. So let us get started. We have certain data collected already and we have this data compiled in the Excel worksheet. So these are the variables. We have collected 5 variables: brand of a carbonated drink, flavor of carbonated drink, gender of the respondent, age of the respondents, and occupation of the respondents. So this chi-square test we are going to use gender, sex and flavor with a null hypothesis, presuming that flavor is not dependent on gender. In the other way around, there is no relationship between the user's gender, consumer's gender, and his or her favorite flavor of carbonated drinks. We have already compiled the table. The problem with Excel is that you need to calculate these table yourself. So you can very easily use the count formula to count how many females loved cola and how many females love lemon, so on and so forth. So we have compiled this observed cross tabulation that is available from the sample. So we have got a total of 317 samples in total. We have got 144 female respondents and 173 male respondents. So after compiling this table, we need to compile another table containing the expected counts in each of the cells. So this is the expected count. So we have to calculate the expected counts for each of the corresponding cells of the observed table. So this is formula is pretty simple, but then you will have to manually calculate it. You don't have to find, if you do not have a formula to calculate this. So what happens is that in order to calculate, for example, males who love orange, whose favorite flavor is orange, so this cell we need to calculate the expected count. So formula says that you have to multiply the column total, this is the column total, by the row total. Column total, so what we are double clicking it once again, the column total multiplied by row total divided by the grand total. So if we see the formula bar, we can see this formula out here that shows that column total into row total divided by grand total. So accordingly, we got 18.56 as the expected count from the cell which had 13 as the observed count. So likewise, we have to calculate all these, and then finally we have found out the totals of the expected count, which are normally always tally with the observed counts. So after doing that, the next task is to calculate the chi-square test. So here you don't have to do anything manually. So what you will have to do is you will have to invoke chi, and then you have got a drop down list here. If you type chi, you get a drop down list here, and then you select very simple test, chi-square test. You double click it here, and then it will prompt you to give the actual range and the expected range. So actual range is this range. Be careful not to select the totals. So we have selected only the cells, raw cells, and then we put a comma out here and then select the expected range. So we have selected the expected range, close the bracket, and if we enter it, then we get a value out here. So this value is the p-value. This value is the p-value. Now we know the relationship between the p-value and the alpha value, that is the level of significance. So with this p-value we can conclude that we can reject the null hypothesis very comfortably, because our level of significance is 0.05 and p-value that is given to us is 0.02. So we can comfortably reject the null hypothesis and conclude that yes, gender and favorite flavor of that particular person are somehow related. It's a different matter how it is related. This video is not going to discuss about this, but now if we have to use this chi-square test, perform this chi-square test using the other two softwares, StatCraft and SPSS, how easy or how difficult it would be, and how we should interpret the results of these two tests. Let us do this in the next section of this video. So what we did, I have already opened. What we did in here, it's little different than when you go to the view column. So if you go to the view column and if you click in the table, if we click in table, what happens? we get a list of the files that we already have here. So I had already downloaded this Excel data into the StatCraft in this particular file, that is CARB curve. So these are the data, all this data that exactly were there in the StatCraft of Excel is there in this particular data sheet. So our next task is to calculate chi-square test from here. So what we do here is that this is the menu bar. This is the menu bar of StatCraft. So we click in there, and then there's so many menus are coming out. So we select compare groups. Under compare groups, we go to cross tab. Under compare groups, we go to cross tab. We click it there, and then this dialog box appears here. Now when this dialog box appears here, we see the variables out here. All the variables are nominally scaled variable, and that's why we have seen these colorful dots out here next to the variable. So if I can make it a little bigger, things would be easier for you to understand properly. So we have got three different menus out here. One is data, which is open at this moment. Then we have got options. There are different options to be chosen from. And then we have got the statistics. We have got only two statistics. One is chi-squared statistics. The other one is McNamara statistics. So let us go back to data. So our job is to see whether flavor and gender has got anything to do with each other. So we can give an analysis title. We can give an analysis title like chi-square, but this is not mandatory. So row factor is let us take row as gender as the row, and column factor, let us take flavor as the column factor. Now this OK, look at this, OK is not yet highlighted because we have not selected the options or statistics. So go to options. We can very well click in expected, and then expected count would be all automatically calculated. Now we go to statistics. Here we can select chi-square test. Another Fisher's test also come this time, but we are not interested in McNamara or Fisher at this moment. We are only interested in chi-square. Now look at this OK. This is highlighted. So we click in this OK, right? Just to have a double check of our data, we have put a row. In the row factor, we have put gender, sex, and in the column factor, we have got a flavor. So let us say OK. It is coming. So look at this. This would come as the data. So whatever we have found out in the Excel sheet is automatically being calculated here. This expected count is here, right? All these, and this is the observed counts. This is the female row. This is the male row, and this is the total. Total is 317. So this cross tabulation is done automatically. Let us go down a little bit to see if there is something else. Oh yes, there is the chi-square value, the value. This is the chi-square value, calculated value of the chi-square. This is a degree of freedom. But we are more interested in p-value. This p-value is exactly similar to the p-value that we have calculated through Excel, and therefore we compare this p-value with the alpha value, and then we arrive at the same conclusion as we arrived when you use the Excel. So both the softwares are giving us equal results. Now let us invoke SPSS. So what we can do in SPSS, let us see how we can put in the data from Excel into SPSS. Very simple. We'll have to define a variable first. So just first we have defined a variable. Let us double click it here, and I think it is defined already. Let us see. us see, let us put just variable 1. Variable 1 is the name, and then in data view we see variable 1 has appeared here. You could have given the name also, but let us see how we can bring the data from Excel to SPSS. So what we'll have to do, there are different ways of doing it. The simplest way is to copy the entire variables, entire data from top to bottom. We'll wait bottom, so it is there. So we copy it. We have copied it, and we go back to our SPSS worksheet. So the first row, first variable we had already defined. So then paste here. Yes, this time everything has come. So we can toggle the width of the variables like we do in Excel. This is very user friendly. Now our job is to run the chi-square test between variable 2 and variable. We can define this variable as the flavor and this variable is the gender. We do not have any problem at this moment. So what we do, rather than keeping it gazing, let us define it. Flavor, and this is gender. So this looks like this. So remaining part we are keeping aside. So what we do, we run the analysis, go to descriptive statistics, going to cross tabulation, and in a cross tabulation, same dialog box almost like that we found it in StatCraft. We put gender in row, flavor in column, and we go to statistics. Here we select chi-square, we continue, we say OK, and then we are going to get the output table, and output table looks like it is coming out. So this is the table, cross tabulation, and this is what is the chi-square test that we are interested in. We look here in asymptotic significance. The same value has come for a chi-square, Pearson chi-square. We look at this is the p-value, and this p-value tells us that this is exactly same as that of as we calculated in Excel and in StatCraft. So we didn't select the expected count here. We can very well do that. We can go to again to the same dialog box, and then if we go to sales, here you see expected count was unchecked, so I'm checking it this time. We do continue. Let us see what comes out. Yes, expected counts are coming out as we have already calculated in the earlier two softwares. So this is how we use Excel, StatCraft and SPSS. It is up to you which software is available with you and which software you find interesting and more usable. It depends on if you're a student, it depends on what kind of software is available in your institute, and if no software is available, you do not get disheartened, because Excel you can always use. Even you can use Excel in your mobile phones also. So this is how you can do this simple chi-square test using these three different softwares. Thank you for listening, and we shall surely meet with another video with another kind of comparison. Thank you for watching once again. Bye bye. Please take care.